all tuned in on this fine Sunday. It is kind of cool to have 20 people show up to listen to me say something. So I hope you find it worth your while. I'm Rene Ohms with the Paz Hapa Grotto and NRMG, for those of you that I haven't met before. And I live over in Custer, South Dakota. And so we have a really exciting new project in the Black Hills that I wanted to tell you all more about tonight. So it is the Black Hills Cave and Nature Conservancy, which is a brand new organization that we just formed last October. And our very first project is the Dark Canyon Preserve. So this is who we are. We are a new 501c3, and our board of directors, there's the list there on the screen. I don't need to read them all off. Some of you may have met Dean Faust before, our president. He's been a longtime member of the Paz Hapa Grotto. I think many of you know Adam. And Hazel is on tonight. So welcome, Hazel. Hazel is also on our board. Tom Hagen, some of you may not have met Tom before. He's actually the owner of Rushmore Cave. If you've been over to the Black Hills before, Rushmore is one of the commercial caves in the Black Hills, and so he owns Rushmore Cave and Mystic Cave. And Mystic Cave we just recently surveyed to over a mile, which is kind of exciting. So Tom's on our board, and Sammy Langendorf. Many of you probably know both Steve and Sammy Langendorf. So lots of familiar faces here. And we couldn't be doing all that we're doing without the help of Ken Steinken. We've given him the title of the Preserve Vision Coordinator, because that is what he does. He's taking us forward, and really, you know, he's visionary for sure. Ken has a lot of great ideas and has been really key through this whole process. And Dave Springhetti, who also many of you may know, longtime caver in the Black Hills, and he has a great relationship with the owner of the property that we are working to acquire. So the key mission of the Black Hills Cave and Nature Conservancy, we have a lot of things that we're trying to do. We want to make sure that we're preserving and protecting caves, karst, and natural resources, working on some restoration projects where applicable. We're also hoping to foster scientific study. The picture there on the right-hand side, that is Riley from MIT doing some microbial sampling in Brooks Cave, which is one of the caves we're going to talk about here in a second. And we also want to educate the public about caves and karst. And the primary thing we're doing in order to further that mission is to buy properties. So we're trying to acquire properties through either purchase or donation, and we'll also be able to ensure access for cavers by owning the land. So our very first project we're very excited about, this is the Dark Canyon Preserve. And it's 45 acres just west of Rapid City. It's a beautiful canyon. So hopefully you all will get a chance to come out and tour the property with us. 45 acres near Rapid City, and it has 7 caves on it that we know of. There might be more. There's some debate about whether there's 7 or 8 caves. There are 8 caves in that canyon, but the 8th one may or may not actually be within the boundary. So we're still figuring that out. The owner, she has been a wonderful friend to our grotto for a long, long time. She has been very welcoming to cavers, and the grotto has had a great relationship with her because, you know, the grotto goes in and cleans up graffiti and takes trash out of the cave. Dave Springhetti made the gate on Brooks Cave. So, you know, we've had a really great relationship with her for many years. And she's getting older. I think she's 87 years old now. And she wants cavers to continue to have access after she's gone. And she wants the caves to be protected and studied. So this is a great opportunity for us to acquire the property. And yeah, it's been a long time coming. She's wanted it to go to cavers for a long time. And about 5 years ago, it was proposed as an NSS purchase. And that fell through, unfortunately. There were some property access issues. The land is actually, it's landlocked. So there isn't actually drive-up access to the property where the caves are. But we've figured that out now. There is walk-in access along a section line. And we can also get permission from one of the neighboring landowners to walk across their property. And that's how we've gotten in all these years. We just call up that other owner and asked permission to walk across their meadow, and they've been cool with it. But even without that access, if that access were to fall through, we still have access to the property along the section lines. So now we're on track to actually acquire this property this summer. So we're working on a joint management plan with the NSS, so that's still in development, and it's actually going to be an NSS preserve. So it'll be the 21st NSS preserve, although the NSS itself won't own it. So just a quick tour of some of the known caves on the property. The most well-known is Brooks Cave. This one has been known since the mid-1950s, and it's almost 3,500 feet long. Dan Austin did a wonderful map of the cave, which I'll have a slide of here in a little bit. What's really remarkable about Brooks is it intersects the Madison Aquifer. So it's one of 3 caves in the Black Hills that does reach the water table. So there's Wind Cave, and more recently Jewel Cave, and Brooks Cave that all cross the water table. And I don't have other slides of this cave that show this, so I'm just going to try to point it out here. Ooh, my laser pointer thing worked. Cool. Over on this side of the slide, you can see some graffiti. So there's a lot of spray paint in this cave, unfortunately. People found out about it after it was first discovered in the 50s. Then some people really in the 60s saw a lot of access, and then 60s and 70s, word spread throughout Rapid City before it was gated, and people would just come out with cans and cans of spray paint. I mean, it looked terrible, and just tons of trash all over the cave. So the grotto has done a lot of restoration work in here and tried to remove a lot of the graffiti. Unfortunately, there's still a lot in there, but it's a really cool cave. It's just unfortunate that it went ungated for a long time. And when it was gated, people broke into the cave and broke open the gate. Our new gate is way more bomb-proof, so I don't think anybody could break into that thing now. So this is the gate that you crawl through. That's Dan Austin, long time ago when he was still a kid. So the entrance series, you go through a whole bunch of crawls. I don't think I have a ton of pictures of the crawls, but then you come out to actually a drop. There's a drop that you go down into called the rope drop room. Very creative. And so, we used to go down using standard SRT gear, but being Black Hills cavers, nobody wanted to use vertical gear. So a ladder was put in I think the early 2000s. That is a tree stand ladder, actually. So it's just this little nuisance drop. It's like 15 or 20 feet or something like that. So the grotto put a ladder in there. And that's Matt Bush up at the top of the drop on the way out. And then this is one of the larger rooms in the cave. I think this is the compass room. And this is where the airflow actually, the cave does have pretty strong barometric air. And Bruce Zurr, who some of you guys, if you're members of the Pasapa Grotto, you may have seen some of his emails on our email list. He's pretty active on our email list. But Bruce, when he was living in the hills back in the 70s, he tried to trace the air with some helium balloons, and he saw it disappearing into a few cracks in this room. And some secondary formations in there. And then this is where the cave meets the water table. So, USGS has done some work in here, measuring the depth. Divers did haul tanks in here in the 70s, the late 70s, and didn't have much luck, unfortunately. It got really silty. Visibility was really poor. I don't think anybody's tried to dive the lake since then. And then right next door to Brooks is Brooks Jr. This one's just a tiny cave. It's about 170 feet long, but it's quite cool. Just a few pictures of Brooks Jr. This kind of interesting calcified mound in the floor, if you can really see in there. I think that picture is really pretty. Dan Austin took all these pictures, by the way. So this is Dan Austin's map of Brooks and Brooks Jr. So I'll see if I can get the laser thing to work again. So you come in the entrance here is all the crawls, and you go down the rope drop. And then there's this branch to the southeast is where a lot of the really big rooms are. And this big room here had a ton of graffiti in it and still does have some. And then fewer idiots have found their way down into the compass room. So it's a little bit cleaner and more pristine when you get down there, but there's still some graffiti. And then you go the other branch, and that's how you get up to the lake room where it sumps the water table. And then little tiny Brooks Jr. over here in the corner. Probably the crown jewel of the property is Dom Spring Cave. This one, we don't know who found it originally. Whoever had found it had built like a rock wall around it. And then the Hansen brothers, Mike and Greg Hansen, refound it, I believe, in the 80s. And then they actually dug it open. So a little over 1,200 feet have been surveyed in here, and it is a gorgeous cave. I've been in it a couple times, and I don't think I really want to go back. It's so pristine. Like, it's just, you know, you're just afraid you're gonna hurt something. It's a beautiful cave, and it's got some really unusual paleontology. I've got a cool photo in a little bit, but here's the eye candy. Yeah, lots of really pretty formations and lots of pools in here. So those are super cool. Lots of subaqueous formations and just, I don't know, really unusual things. And I think this cave could really, I don't know, see a lot of scientific study. There's Hazel's probably going, "Ooh, there's something living in there." I can tell. Yeah, more pretties. Pretty wild lectites. Nice draperies. And this is Adam looking down into a pool called the Remains to be Seen Grotto. The reason it's called Remains to be Seen is because there are remains to be seen. So this is a really awesome skeleton that is fully articulated and calcified at the bottom of this pool. And for a long time, people thought this was a bobcat skeleton, but Adam recently married a paleontologist, and he was sharing photos of the cave with her, and she works down at the Mammoth site near Hot Springs, South Dakota. And so they were taking a look at these pictures, and with their trained eye, they said they actually think it might be a raccoon. So we're not 100% sure, but it may not be a bobcat, but still really freaking cool. And what's kind of interesting about raccoons is nobody knows when raccoons actually came to the Black Hills. Supposedly it was after humans. So there's accounts, I believe, from the Lakota where they started seeing raccoons and didn't, hadn't recorded them previously. So anyway, they're somewhat recent addition to the Black Hills. So it'll be interesting to have this dated and find out how old this thing is. So here's Dan's map of Dom Spring. Lots of pretty pools all throughout the cave, not just in Remains to be Seen Grotto. There's quite a bit of water in there. So that's it for the pretty cave photos. So the Conservancy is, we're actually moving pretty fast on this thing. It's been a long time coming, like I said, but and we had some fits and starts trying to make it an NSS purchase, and that didn't work out, and we ended up forming our own 501c3. So we just became incorporated with the state mid-October of 2019, and then we got our 501c3 status in January. And then that picture on the left, that's Marilyn, the owner, signing our purchase and donation agreements, which we just signed in February. And we got our appraisal done this month, and we are hoping to close on the property maybe in June. We don't have a closing date set just yet with the owner, so hopefully it'll be early summer. But, according to the purchase agreement, we have until September 30th to close on the purchase. So it's complicated. There's a parcel that we're purchasing, and then the cave property is actually being donated. So it's kind of a generous purchase donation transaction that Marilyn is doing with us. So we'll purchase what's called Lot 3 by September 30th, and then she'll donate the cave property as soon as she has the appraisal paperwork, which she does now. We've provided her the appraisal already. So that it could actually happen on the same day, but it's all supposed to happen by the end of the calendar year at the very latest. And yeah, after we acquired the property, we want to map all the caves. We've just got maps of Brooks Junior, and Dom Spring so far. There are some older maps of a couple of the other small caves, so we'll want to map and GPS all of them. We'd also be interested in doing some bat surveys in the caves after coronavirus is over and after that's not risky anymore. Develop some protection strategies for Dom Spring Cave that may include gating it. Botanical survey of the property. We have a friend that's a botanist who offered to do a survey of the property, and it's in this really interesting canyon that, you know, there could be some rare plants in there, so it'd be interesting to find out what the surface resources have to offer too. And we want to build upon our public education efforts and get the local community excited about caves and karst and protection of cave resources. And, you know, once we got this one behind us, we'd love to pursue other cave purchases in the Black Hills. There's a lot of privately owned caves and a lot of caves that used to be commercial caves where they used to do tours, and they're not doing tours in those caves anymore. And some of those properties have changed hands multiple times. And, you know, it's possible that we could pursue some other purchases after we've got this one done. So we need your help. We're trying to raise money for the Conservancy, and we have a, you know, that may seem like a big number, that fundraising goal of $250,000. That's, you know, not only to acquire the property, but also to set up our endowment fund so we can continue to maintain it and manage it, and also hopefully acquire some additional properties in the Black Hills. And we've actually already raised a lot of money without widely advertising just yet. So we're already 9% of the way there, getting there slowly but surely. And so if you or if anybody you know might be interested in helping out the Conservancy, wanted to throw this slide up here so you could see how to do it. We just got a PO box in Rapid City last week. So we have a PO box where you can mail a check. It says maximize your donation just because if you do online with a credit card, it charges us a small fee, but not a big deal if you want to do an online transaction. That's cool too. We have a website that's in development. It's looking pretty good. If you go to blackhillscaves.org, you can check out our website. And if you click on the donate button, that's how you can donate. Or if you are a PayPal person, you can just PayPal to our email address, bhcnc@caves.org. And since we're a 501c3, I can provide you with a tax deductible or a receipt for your taxes because it is a tax deductible donation. So think about it. I know these are tough times right now financially for a lot of people. So if you don't want to donate anything right now, or you know other people that might want to but maybe can't do it just yet, think about making a pledge for a future gift. And then I just have another slide in here that shows the breakdown. You know, if you wanted to give a fairly substantial amount, if you break it down into monthly or annual gifts over a period of time, it actually isn't quite as bad of a hit. So just some examples here, but gifts of any amount are welcome. We've had donations of $5, $25, you know, anything you can spare helps us with the cause. And you get to come out and go caving on the property and help ensure that we're able to access the property for years to come. So yeah, if you want to learn more, visit our website and send us an email, or if there's anything that you'd like to help us out with, we can always use your help. So get in touch with us. And yeah, just wanted to give credit down there at the bottom too, Dan Austin did the beautiful maps of the caves and provided me with most of these photos. Ken Steinken also gave me some photos that he took of the property, of the land itself. But that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?